This week's episode of the Metro Hockey Report was brought to you by Allstate. If you need auto, home, business, or life insurance, call Allstate. You're in good hands.
Welcome to episode 3 of the Seattle Metropolitan Hockey Report. It is Wednesday, folks. Happy day in Seattle. You know how it went down. Commissioner David Stern and his little game he played.
His minions.
His
evil minions.
Well, I'm Mark Miller.
Todd Smith.
Todd Smith here. Partner. I'm still pretty mad, if you can't tell, folks. No right, literally, to tell somebody who they can sell their team to, where the team can be located. There was no reason for Sacramento to have that advantage that they've had. Yes, they're the incumbent, true, but at the same point, they've had 10 years. How many more years do you need to get a damn arena built? How many more deals do you have to make with the Magoofs?
Well, Mark, welcome again Wednesday. It's hump day. It's our
Dreary
day.
one.
It is a dreary one here.
Sorry if we're kind of, we're with you guys. We're down right now, so it's one of those days.
Well, it's a bit of a somber tone, obviously, because with the NBA taking the vote on ownership down in the Sacramento situation with the Kings, didn't only affect the NBA, it affected us here with the NHL.
The NHL, yes.
Bringing hockey here to Seattle. And that, to me, is tantamount to everything that we needed to have happen here. I think we really had an opportunity with the Phoenix Coyotes, and I'm really afraid that we've kind of closed that window at this point. So now the question becomes, what's next? You know, what do we do? Let's, at this point, I'm kind of taking a wait-and-see attitude. Let's see what Chris Hansen, Steve Ballmer, and the Nordstroms have to say, what their next step is, because I really think that's going to tell us a lot. If we see a lawsuit coming from this, I think we can honestly kiss off the expansion discussions at this point.
If there's a lawsuit, I was all for lawsuit. I wanted one. I would love to go for blood, but at the same point, it's like General MacArthur on Corregidor. He said, "I shall return." You know, you have to live to fight another day. Literally, it's like it's time to get off the rock, let it go, and basically live to fight another day, because you're screwed if you don't.
Right. Well, and at this point, it's final. They took a binding vote today, and unfortunately, it didn't go our way.
Exactly.
We knew this was a possibility. Not one that we wanted to look forward
Probability.
to. It was a probability.
I mean, that's the thing that is crazy to me. We all expected this. You know, we expected this vote to go pretty much the way it did. I mean, I'm honestly surprised they got 8 votes. I'm surprised we have gotten 8 votes today. But it still hurts. You know, that's what it is.
It does. However, I will agree with you that when I saw the 8 votes come out in favor of Seattle, to me, that just screams of there's
a silent majority in there that just don't want to go against Stern.
Well, to me, even more so than what that says is it says Seattle isn't out of the running. We still have options available to us, and I think that's probably what some of this posturing from the Hansen group was probably a part of.
Yeah.
In the fact that, hey, we're going to make this as uncomfortable as possible. We're going to press our advantage as far as we possibly can, so that we have that opportunity to get something out of this. We all knew that we needed something. We wanted the immediacy of the Kings. However, with that off the table, if we can secure a promise, a contract that says
we're next,
here's the timeline, that in a binding offer sheet should allow the Hansen Group to move forward with construction.
Exactly.
If that begins, wow, look out, Phoenix. Look out, Phoenix.
My thought is this is the thing about Phoenix is I think they're gonna move to Quebec City, like our guest said last week. I agree with them, just because they're where we are right now compared to Sacramento.
Sure.
Sure. When it comes to hockey. They have the money. They have the new arena coming up for the Winter Olympics that they're bidding on. They have the wherewithal, and, well, they're ready right now to go. You know, they're ready to move. They're ready to be open. That market's ready to open up today.
Yep.
Yesterday, actually.
Right.
You know, it's been there. I think with the Coyotes, they probably end up in Quebec. I hate to say that. I think the goal now with them, with the NHL, is expansion, just like it is the NBA. I mean, basically, we've always said it's Markham, Quebec, Seattle, those three. Literally right now, they're going to close up Quebec, but you're going to expand. It's going to be 2 franchises. Right. Markham and Seattle would be most likely the logical places for them. I mean, they're not going to put a team in Vegas. I really don't believe that they ever will. They've failed. That area has failed. That whole market, the Southwest, has failed. I mean, be honest. Look at all the franchises in the Sun Belt. They're going tits up.
We know we've talked about this. Hockey in the southern states is questionable at best, and I think that's what's really most hurtful to me. You know, I personally, I haven't been a Seattleite very long in the grand scheme of things. I've never been to a Sonics game. I was coming, they were leaving.
Oh wow! Yeah.
So I was only here for 1 year before the Sonics actually left.
Which was the lame duck, horrible.
Correct.
You know, no talking to the media because we don't want you to become known or friendly with Seattleites.
Right. And honestly, I've never really had professional basketball where I was at, and so it wasn't high on my list of priorities. But I can tell you in my work with the Sonics Arena project, it's been a lot of fun getting to hear the stories, meeting some of the old Sonics legends, meeting Sean Kemp and some of those folks has just been really fun hearing about the old days and kind of those glory days of basketball in this town.
And that's the nostalgia that's today bothering me and a lot of people.
And I can certainly understand that. And, you know, while my disappointment is honestly for the NHL, I can sympathize with everybody in this town because I understand, having been a part of a town that was in a championship run, what it was like. And so it does hurt. It rips a piece of your heart out every single time. And, you know, you had comments from folks around the country, from the commissioner today, kind of twisting that knife a little bit. You have the whole controversy of, you know, Macklemore being a hometown, hometown boy.
And the blunder wanting to use his music.
Yeah, exactly. And they take his music and make it their own. And it's really disappointing to see how things turned out. And there's just not enough words to describe that kind of pain and hurt.
When it comes to me, I would say I'm behind the arena only because I like the passion Chris Hansen has, and I want hockey. I could give a rat's ass about the NBA. Honestly, I hate the NBA for what they've done to us already. You know, and I wasn't about to get my hopes up another time for another team. It was more of, I want another team just because I want a hockey franchise in this town. Stern's disgusting comment about, I got a game to go to in Oklahoma City. Well, you know,
that was unnecessary.
In front of a Seattle, you know, you're breaking Seattle's heart and you know you're twisting the knife. You're just a little scumball weasel, Stern. Honestly. I spent today hoping that I felt like going to church, you know, lighting a candle and praying that plane would crash on the way to Oklahoma City. No, I wasn't praying for anything. I was praying for his soul to go downstairs quick. I hate that guy. Scumbag. Disgusting human being. Rotten hell, David Stern. We hate your guts. Anything to add to that? My positivity right now.
You know, for me, it's I don't have time for that. Me personally, I've got to say, what's next? Because
I'm working on getting to that point, but today was complete disgusting.
And everybody has to have their time to work through it. I just I've put enough energy into this. I've worked with enough of these folks to know that this isn't over yet, and we don't have time to wallow and, you know, kind of feel sorry for ourselves. There's time for that later.
You don't want to throw a shot out there, sir? You know, like the Emperor used to say, give in to your hatred. Let the dark side flow through you. Literally, come on, man. You got to have something to say about this. pardon my French, asshole. You're an asshole, David Stern.
And those are the words of Mark Miller. I'm the nice guy here.
He's the good cop.
Is really...
Yeah.
It doesn't feel right saying that I'm the good guy. Because that's rarely...
That's a bad thing.
Yeah, that's never the case. No, I can't ever remember a time that I was the good guy.
So he's the bad cop. I'm the I'm the cop that Internal Affairs investigates because the guy comes out, of the interrogation room with like cuts all over his face. It's like, oh, he fell. I'm that cop. I'm the really bad cop.
When I was a kid, I was probably second, third grade tops. We had a hockey coach, and I still live by this motto today. It was ingrained into us: beat 'em or beat 'em up trying. And that's where I'm still at. And
that's where I want to be when it comes to the lawsuit. But like I was saying, there's people right now that are talking about antitrust, which is, it's like, this is the one thing. If you want to sue, let the Magoofs be your guide. Let them be put them out there. Let them be the whipping boys.
Right.
Let them do your dirty work. Don't do this yourself, because the simple fact is, you sue for antitrust, you're pissing off every other owner in the NBA, not just David Stern, because that's screwing with their dollars. You are basically screwing with your franchise in the future, because if you ever have to sell, then free agent franchises are the norm. Your franchise could be gone too. Leases or not, we've learned that, Seattle. David Stern. If you want to sue anybody, go after David Stern. That's the only person you do it, and you let the Maloofs do it. You get him for fair trade. You get him for interstate commerce. You get him for something. I don't care if you have to audit the bastard. You get him for something. But don't do it yourselves. Don't be the ones with the dirt on your hands, because, well, you will never get a franchise again if that happens, which that's why I don't want Chris Hansen's hands dirty in this whole deal. That's all.
And I don't see that happening. Antitrust in this situation is predominantly going to fall on the Maloofs because of the fact they would be the ones that are actually damaged in this process, to the tune of, they're reporting, $60, $65 million difference. It would be up to them, assuming that they are forced into a situation.
I think the Hansen Group is actually staying away from this, and I think the Maloofs will in the end, just because it's something you don't want to go down. It's a road that no pro sport wants to go down, because if basketball has to open its books, then hockey might have to, then football might have to, then baseball might have to. Every league would have a stake in that lawsuit, because nobody wants their books open. That's just how it is. No league has ever opened their books willingly.
The only Sherman we want to talk about is Richard on this show.
Exactly. So that was all we have to say on this today. Vent's over, I guess.
It's time to move on.
Let's get to happier topics.
Topics.
We are going to take a break. We'll be right back with something better, hopefully more positive. If you enjoy our rants, if you don't like what I said,
let us know.
Yeah, let us know. I was going to say something else, but yeah, let us know. Let us know too, okay? We'll be right back.
Still loose, 11 seconds. You've got 10 seconds. The countdown going on right now. Morrow up to Schultz. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
And we are back. Let you introduce our guest, Todd.
Okay, so everybody, we are. It's our pleasure to have our guest tonight is Andy Cole. He is the league manager for the GSHL. For those of you who are not familiar with it, is the Greater Seattle Hockey League. Andy, welcome to the show. We really appreciate you taking a few minutes out of your time tonight to tell us about your organization there.
Thanks. Glad to be here. Greater Seattle Hockey League is the largest adult recreational league in the Northwest. We're usually in the top 10 largest in the country. We've got roughly 18 to 1,900 players playing. I think we had 106 teams last winter. We've got about 85 going this summer. We partner with a group called Hockey Educational Systems to do Learn to Play. So most of the guys in our league didn't grow up playing, but started playing as adults. I'd say probably 65% of the guys picked it up as adults, which surprises a lot of people.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. So Andy, tell me about these learn to play. So if I'm a guy, I've not grown up playing hockey, how do I get involved? When do you have these classes? Do they run year round, or is there certain times of the year where you put these classes together?
The way we've been doing it, and we've been doing it about 13 years now, they run a learn to play in the spring, usually April, and they go about 5 weeks. So April to the first week of May, and then in the fall they'll run it the whole month, I believe, of September. So, two chances a year to get involved. There's a smattering of other smaller classes, but we like the official learn to play classes that the AGS runs. And some years we'll get one team's worth of guys. Some years we'll get 6 teams worth of new guys playing. It just depends. It kind of ebbs and flows, but we welcome anybody. No experience required, and people learn how to skate, learn how to play, and we make sure that when they get in the league, they don't have to play against experienced players. So they start in the lowest division, which we call Division 8. So we go 1 through 8. 1 is the most skilled guys. 8 is the most beginners, and there's a bunch of subdivisions in there also. But basically, the key to beginner hockey is to protect them from the skilled players until they get better. But then people progress and move up the ladder as they get better.
Okay.
Mark here, Andy. Thanks for coming on the show, by the way. What's the age, like the difference? What's the youngest player and what's the oldest player in the league? Like the age difference is the levels there.
The youngest we can have is 18 because we're USA Hockey sanctioned and certified, so they don't. They draw the line specifically between youth hockey and adult hockey. So
exactly.
We're 18 and up, and the oldest guy in the league right now, I believe, turns 80 this year.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
There's not a lot of guys at that age, but we've got an over 40 division. There's quite a few guys in their 40s, 50s playing. Some guys start to slow down in their 60s and 70s, but there's still a lot of guys playing. It's weird. People think of hockey as really, sort of a rough and tough sport, but it's easy on the joints, and older guys who can't necessarily run or play soccer or something like that can play hockey and have a blast.
Oh yeah, skating's great exercise by itself. I mean, no real wear and tear on the ankles or the knees or anything from running on concrete all day. That's pretty awesome. Totally. That's cool. I could not believe an 80-year-old. That is really cool.
That's impressive. So Andy, where can if I don't want to come out and skate, I don't want to come play, but I want to watch what you guys are doing. Where can I catch some games at? Where can I find these games at to be played? Can I come out and check you guys out?
Yeah, you can come out we play at almost every rink in the area. We play currently at 6 different rinks, which are Everett Event Center, Linwood Ice Center, Olympic View, which is in Montlake Terrace, Kingsgate, which is in Kirkland, Castle Ice, which is in Renton, and Kent Valley Ice Center down in Kent. There's also the Highland Ice Arena in Shoreline, which is the rink that most people know about. We've played there before a little bit, but we don't play there presently. But there's adult hockey going on there too.
Okay.
So we've pretty much drawn on the lines, but Kent is the southernmost and Everett is the northernmost. We did a little bit in Tacoma. There's a couple rinks down there. There's a rink up in Bellingham, but.
Yeah, I was going to ask, why isn't the Puget Sound Hockey Center in Tacoma on that list? I was shocked I expected it.
Well, it's just sort of we've got the 6 or 7 rinks, and really, some of the rinks have multiple sheets, like Everett, to play on sheets. But, we played at Stanaway a little bit. The Puget Sound Hockey Center asked us to play there. But it's just a little too far to go. Most guys are in the Seattle, King County, Puget Sound region, and if you've got a guy from, Everett or something, it get over an hour commute.
Oh, yeah,
It's too
yeah.
far to go. So,
That gets
but
tough.
they've got a league going that's thriving down there already. So I mean,
I actually was at one of their
there's
games
no hockey
recently.
being played there.
Okay.
I was actually at one of their games recently, folks, and seriously, check it out. Adult hockey it's actually pretty fun to watch. I mean, even if you don't know any of the guys, if you like the game, it's a treat, you know.
Right. Andy, so with those more advanced teams that you have, do you have any former players, NHL, WHL, college level guys out there still skating?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, our top level Division One. There's a few guys that played pro. We got Al Kaniski, played for the Thunderbirds, drafted by the Flyers. A guy by the name of Jeremy Reach, who just recently
I remember him.
playing. And yeah, he played a few summers with us while he was even playing for the Bruins.
Oh wow.
You've got holy smokes, what's his name? I'm forgetting the guy's name. Plays with Al on our top team. Cocker has won, I think, the last 4 or 5 years in a row.
Okay.
And they've got a guy who used to play for the St. Louis Blues on that team.
Oh wow.
And I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he's actually the guy who, you know, the horrible scene with the Buffalo Sabres goalie.
Oh, Malarchuk. Yeah, Malarchuk. Yeah.
Yeah, the guy who skate
Oh, God.
hit his neck plays in our league in the top division.
Okay.
Oh wow.
And I feel so bad I'm not remembering his name, but yeah, there's some ex-Thunderbirds, some ex-Silvertips, but generally we don't attract the biggest number of the sort of ex-pro and ex-college guys. We welcome them and we love having them and they're fun to have, but there's a couple other leagues around town that are a little bit smaller, more informal, that those guys kind of tend to congregate
Okay.
into. So it's just a little. I don't know exactly why. You know, we're kind of, you know, the main guy who plays CSHL really, you know, likes it kind of official. We keep good stats. We strictly enforce rules and rosters. So, because for most guys, this is the most official hockey team they've ever been on.
It's the closest to being pro they can ever get, literally.
Yeah. So I mean, we really try to keep it like that. And then I think the guys that did play pro, and there's a bunch of them around here, but they've already had that, and you know, they don't really want to buy another.
They just want to skate and play hockey.
Or care keeping their stats. They want to go out and play, and it just they don't care if there's a championship or not. You know, where we give out beer mugs for the champions, and we give shot glasses for the runners up, and you know, we try to really make it as important
Good.
as possible.
So what's the cost associated with this? Like if say I wanted to start today, what would be the cost associated with this?
To play in our league, it's roughly about $25 a game. So a winter season is where you're going to get about 25 games. It's going to run you over $600. Summer season, just over $300.
It's not bad.
But it's pretty much, you know, it's for your week's entertainment. Your one game a week, $25.
Okay.
It's pretty reasonable.
Oh yeah,
Sure.
easily, yeah.
Is expensive, but there's different ways to go about that. There's all sorts of used stuff out there on the internet and Craigslist. There's some hockey shops that sell used stuff. So if a guy wants to get in, you know, as inexpensively as possible, you know, maybe $400 will get you outfitted head to toe, but you could easily spend $1,000 or more.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
Getting all the stuff. So it's not cheap. It's probably the most expensive team sport you can take up, but I don't. It's not prohibitive for the average guy. I do think we don't have tons of guys under 30. It seems like somewhere in late 20s, early 30s is the age where a guy has, you know, enough money, disposable income, time to get into something like this.
Exactly.
A lot of guys, if they're right out of college, it might be a little bit out of their reach.
So what you're saying, Andy, is it's us guys trying to recapture our youth.
Midlife crisis style, yeah. That's awesome.
Hey, Andy, I really want to thank you for coming on board tonight. One last thing, if you wouldn't mind, maybe just speaking to our friend over at Castle Ice, Jamie Hughescroft, is putting on a clinic this week with some adult skills going on there. If you could just maybe tell us a little bit about some of these types of clinics that you're aware of, or anything like that would help guys get prepared as they get ready for tryouts and things of that nature.
Yeah, Jamie Hughescroft, excellent hockey instructor. I think he played in the NHL about 13 years.
Mm-hmm.
Great guy, great coach. He coached in the Western League after playing for a while too, and he's just excellent with the experienced guys and the beginners. And Jim McTaggart works with him a lot, and he's one of the Thunderbirds assistant coaches.
Okay.
Also played in the NHL. And these guys have been working with adults of all levels as long as I've been doing this, 13. Well, actually, I think a lot longer than I've been doing this.
Okay.
But they're just really good coaches, and I always recommend their programs, and I've never heard anybody come out of there, anything less than loving it. And once people start playing, they just take to it. There's every once in a while I'll call and they'll be I want to make sure I'm really gonna stick with this, and I can confidently say if you're even thinking about it, you're gonna love it. The fact that he made a call or looked it up on the internet or signed up for a class, once they get out there, they're hooked.
It's addicting. Yeah, it's addictive.
Yeah, it's addictive. It's fun. It's like golf or anything else, but it's just a lot of fun to play.
It's like golf, but if you start swearing in the middle of the field, you're fine. It's normal.
Totally.
For those that are interested in the clinic that's coming up out at Castle Ice in Renton, you can find out more information at castleice.com. They've got a clinic or a camp set up for this weekend, May 18th and 19th. You can talk with Jamie Hughescroft out there. Andy, give us a way to get a hold of your organization, the GSHL. If folks want to get involved and they want to see about trying out for a team or coming out for one of your Learn to Play programs, how can they get involved?
Best way is to check on our website, which is gshockey.com.
Okay.
That's got my phone number, my email address. It's got everything you need to know about the league. And when we do have our tryouts, we don't call them tryouts because everybody gets on our team.
That's cool.
Okay.
That's cool.
We call them evaluation skates, and we actually just completed our evaluation skates for the summer season.
Okay.
Okay.
However, we still have some spots. So there's a button on that website that says new players. If somebody wants to jump in here in the first couple weeks of the summer season, we just started Monday. They can still get in. I'll match them up with the team. And if they don't hear this or get to this for a couple weeks or a month, well, winter season's coming up.
Okay.
Exactly.
They can sign up then. We do, some leagues like guys sign up willy-nilly all year long. Like I said before, we try to keep set rosters. We really pride ourselves on parity, close games.
That's cool.
Consistent rosters. So we lock it down June 1st. So nobody gets to come join in July or August. We've got our set teams. We're playing for championships. But
Okay.
there's always a new season coming around the corner.
No ringers, huh?
I'm sorry, what was that?
No ringers?
Yeah, that's our big thing. Yeah, ringers, we just, nobody's too good. We just like to scooch them up to that top division.
There you go.
Exactly.
There you go.
Parity is king,
That's
right?
my full-time job is pushing the ringers up. Just say, hey, we love having you in the league, but you've got to go play with these guys.
There we
You're
go.
too good to play with these lower guys.
You're like the Roger Goodell of the GSHL. Parity is king, right?
Yeah, I have to be like the salesman and the hockey evangelist at the same time telling guys, you're too good. Or you're kicked down for, fighting. We don't allow disrespecting the refs, stuff like that. So you got to be kind of salesman on one hand and the policeman on the other hand. But it all works out.
So if there's no fighting, is there at least a little bit of biting?
No, there's just no place for that.
That's in the Greater Vancouver League.
Jokes about it, but it's just,
Commissioner Alex Burrows.
Yeah.
yeah. Some guys want it. A lot of guys come in and maybe they played in another league back east, and maybe their first season they get in trouble once or twice, but almost everybody comes around. They're like,
Yeah.
no, I didn't realize that I don't need to, play that hard or that rough, and we all got to go to work in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're gonna dial it back, and there's no problems. But we got tons of Canadian guys, tons of East Coasters, tons of Midwestern guys, and they usually say they're the most fun league they've ever played in because you can still play really hard, but we don't let the dirty stuff go.
That's a good thing.
That are trying to hurt people. We're just too old, man.
Exactly.
It's funny how the body doesn't respond the same way at 40 as it does at 20.
Oh.
I know. I just turned 48, so I'm getting ready for the 50 and up league.
Oh.
We don't have. I need to make a 50 and up league. I'll need someplace to play soon.
There you go. Well, Andy, I want to thank you for coming on. Give us that website one last time, and we'll get you out of here for the night.
Okay, thanks, guys, for having me on.
Thanks, Andy.
And the website is gshockey.com, Greater Seattle. I shouldn't gshockey.com. And, new members always welcome. Just might have to wait a couple months for the next season. But if anybody can get in touch with me in the next couple weeks, we'll find them a team. And Jamie's class this weekend is a great way to get started or shake some of the rust off. That's a lot of guys again. They did play a little bit when they were younger, just not a lot. They haven't skated in 10 or 15 years. And those guys come out and they're rusty for a few weeks, but
Sounds like me.
once the rust goes away, it comes back.
Sounds great.
Thank you, Andy.
Thanks, Andy. So once again, that was Andy Cole with the GSHL. We'll be back after this.
Still loose, 11 seconds. You've got 10 seconds. The countdown going on right now. Morrow up to Schultz. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
And welcome back. NHL playoffs are going on, second round. But before we start that, we have to go back to, I believe it was Monday night. Toronto, was it a choke or was it Boston just wanted it more? That's what I'm trying to. I don't want to give the Bruins credit, but at the same point, I kind of have to. That was an amazing comeback.
I don't know that I call it so much choke. I think your Vancouver Canucks choked.
Pretty much.
That's a choke. I think they had a meltdown when you've got a lead like they did in the third period to turn around and drop that game.
Especially the 2-goal lead that late in the game.
Yeah. That was just I don't know if it's a loss of focus. I don't know if they are looking to the second round, what they did, but yeah, Boston brought it, and Boston's still playing.
Yeah, I can honestly not believe that. Personal story, my mom was in the hospital this week, kind of sucked. I actually was watching that game in a hospital room, and I think the whole wing woke up that night when Boston scored the second goal. Unbelievable game. Nothing more to say than that. Congrats, Boston. You guys earned it, man. Big win. Big win. That's all you can say. Toronto, there's always next year. Get a new goalie. How about Roberto Luongo, Corey Schneider? You know what? That's why this stuff's upside down still. I mean, if people ask why there's Canucks stuff behind me, I'm a Canucks fan. I'll admit that. They're our Northwest team, closest to. These guys are too, obviously. Yeah, it's kind of my protest. It's more of my, like when you hang an American flag upside down, means stuff's not right. Well, stuff's not right until Gillis and Alan Vigneault are fired. I think I'll leave those upside down for now. It's Vancouver held hostage day probably 1,000 now since they've been there, or more.
Yeah, I'm that nomad. I just enjoy good hockey.
Mm-hmm.
I like to watch all the games that are going on. As much as it irritates my wife, I'll pick up the remote and whatever game happens to be on, I'm going to watch. I'm going to be thrilled. Until we get a Seattle team, I love hockey.
I love the game.
So I'm going to watch it all. And, I just don't have that rooting passion for any one team right now. So until we get our Seattle team. And, by the way, those of you who have noticed, just kind of a little bit of a nod to our history again. You'll see me kind of sprinkle that in here and there,
and
everywhere.
The shirt.
And the shirt. You Red Wing fans, take note. It says Original Hockeytown, USA. Original.
Hey, you don't want to get on them too bad tonight. They lost 4-1 to the Blackhawks, which is another. Yeah. This is what it is for me.
Is there a way for two teams to just cancel each other out and not move on?
That's what I was getting to. I have a friend at Cairo. His name's Chris Hansen, if you're watching. Hey, Chris. His comment to me when Vancouver was knocked out was, "Oh, great, now I get to look forward to rooting against teams. Who do I hate, less?" And that's kind of what it is for me. It's like the Blackhawks and Red Wings.
Ugh.
I mean, I just look at the Red Wings as the communist team. I'm sorry. They fit. They're the Red Wings. I mean, everybody on their team had an "ov" at the end of their name. They were like, Yurkanov, Jerkanov, Fedorov, Konstantinov. Literally, it was like watching the Rush. It was the Red Armor. It was the Red Army team of the 80s, literally.
The turn the
And the
TV
Blackhawks.
off.
Oh, the
is for
Blackhawks.
me. Yeah, I just, y'all know, I'm a Minnesota fan. I grew up, born and raised there. I can't do it. I cannot root for Chicago. I cannot root for Detroit. It's sacrilegious to me. Call it petty, call it whatever you will. Can't do it. I cannot root for either one of those teams. So, you guys are on your own with that one.
I'm where you're at right now. I'll say Blackhawks in 6, though. I'll say Blackhawks in 6.
I hope it goes to a Game 7, 5 overtimes.
And
they
just have to
beat the
cancel it.
snot out of each other, and they're too injured to make it to the next round.
And the Sharks and Kings would be very thrilled with that, too.
Yeah.
Either or.
I'm good with either one of those. At this point, I want to see a West Coast team take it.
That's
so
what I'm saying.
Whether it's San Jose, whether it's LA, I hope they run the table at this point.
That's where I'm at. The Rangers Bruins. Henrik Lundqvist. Somebody called me out on talking about Henrik Lundqvist being, a choker. Well, he's in the second round. Let's see if he can get past this one, and then we'll stop calling him a choker. I say Bruins in 5. Honestly, I don't see the Rangers winning this series. I think Boston's going to carry that momentum at least this round, just because it was like how did we get out of that series? I think it's going to carry him for a little while. They're going to bounce off of it.
I think ultimately what we end up seeing is a black and gold Eastern Division final.
Boston, Pittsburgh.
You show up wearing your black and gold, and it'll confuse everybody in the stadium. So you'll either get your ass kicked or nobody will know who to root for.
See, now that would be my other nightmare series, is because do I root for the city that basically jobbed us out of a Super Bowl, or do I root for the city that basically, jobbed us out of a Stanley Cup as a Canucks fan? So I really, it's kind of like, that's your version of the Blackhawks Red Wings series. That's kind of what Boston and Pittsburgh would be for me. I can't believe this, but I'm saying go Rangers, just go Rangers, and go Senators, please. I would love to see a Canadian team move on, but
Sens Rangers would definitely be my preference, but unfortunately, I think we're destined to black and gold.
I'm thinking the same thing. Sharks Kings. That to me is the most interesting series. Actually,
Sharks Kings is going to be a nail biter all the way down to the end. I think you've got. I don't know. I think it's too close to call. I think it's going to go to 7 games.
That's where I'm
That
thinking.
might be our 5 overtime game right there. Assuming that, Quick doesn't have some disastrous meltdown in goal again, like I think he learned his lesson there. So, I think it's a coin toss at this point.
I'm actually going to say I think LA is going to repeat this year. I don't know why. That first series they had something it looked like it clicked like it did from last year. And this team's shown that they don't have to have a good regular season to win the Stanley Cup. I mean, they were an 8th seed last year. They went all the way. This team's battle tested. It's like, you know what it reminds me of? Is one of those old Houston Rocket teams that kind of hung in the weeds when they were winning championships. Like, everybody was talking Spurs, everybody was talking Suns.
Time out. Is this another basketball reference?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is.
Just clarifying.
I'm just trying to give an example. That's the best example I could come up with.
Remember me?
A champ that
No
lays
basketball?
in the weeds. That's true.
That's right.
That's true. Well, they're a champ that lays in the weeds. They're battle tested for the playoffs. You know, folks. That's what you need at this time of year. I mean, Pittsburgh to me would be probably them in Boston. I'll just call it now. I'll say an LA-Pittsburgh final. LA wins in 6. We'll see how wrong I am in a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah, I don't think we're heading to Vegas anytime soon with our picks.
No, not at all.
You know, Gretzky is not going to be taking any booking advice on us. That's for sure.
Oh man, this has been an interesting postseason. Speaking of that NBA you hate, Blunder just got knocked out of the playoffs. So see, our nights are improved a lot more.
See, there we go.
That's a good time.
Here we go. It's it's almost quitting time for us. It's about time to crack the Molsons open. We've got our pucks on set. We had a great interview tonight with Andy Cole.
And we've got a few questions, by the way, to go to. Actually, our Facebook fan club has sent us a few questions.
All right, let's see what we've got here tonight.
Cody Nye. So what is the likelihood that the Islanders will come here? 0. They're moving into Barclays Center in Brooklyn. The NHL's already said they don't mind the smaller venue just because, well, it's New York City and that market's huge and you can make money playing in probably a 5,000 seat building if you charge right.
Well, that actually brings up a great point. So the Islanders are going from a dump of a facility at the Nassau Coliseum to the Barclays Center, which is going to be an offset seating configuration, which is much like what we would have here in Key Arena should we get a team here in the short run.
Exactly.
Does that become a viable long-term solution even in New York? Granted they can charge higher prices, but from my understanding is basketball is going to have the lion's share of the ad revenues coming in through the arena. What is the long-term viability for a team like that? Do we see them signing a long-term lease?
They've already signed a long-term.
I was under the impression it was only a 15-year.
Yeah, 15 years in this business is a long time. You know that more than anybody. If a building could be obsolete in 7 years, then a lease in 15.
I suppose,
15 is not that long. That is not a huge lease.
We're just used to seeing these 25, 30-year
It's not a
leases.
huge lease, but it's long enough. I mean, there are ways that, 15 years buys them a lot of time. By that time, you're looking at Long Island being sad that they lost their team, basically. Well, it's still on Long Island, but they don't consider Brooklyn part of that. I think they move back at the end when that lease runs out eventually, because there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be, I missed going to games at Nassau. It's part of my childhood, staying here in Uniondale, Eastern Long Island. You're not going to have – it's not going to be the same crowd, but I think a lot of the crowd that has season tickets now will not – they will be priced out. Honestly, they will be priced out, and I think they'll kind of start missing it after a while and get on their politicians to get something going.
Do you see them being able to develop a new kind of following in Brooklyn? They're in the backyard, essentially, of the Rangers.
And the Devils are right across the river.
They are?
Yep.
And you've got, you're moving them away from their traditional ticket base, which, granted, it's what...
it's 20, 30 miles at most.
Yeah.
But it's enough that...
Well, you figure rush hour on a weeknight, that could turn into a 3-4 hour drive.
Easily. Thing is, most of their fans come from Eastern Long Island, so they're actually pushing them farther away from where they used to be.
Yeah.
So Long Island's really 100 miles long, literally. So you're pushing people all the way to the end of the island, all the way toward New York City. There's a lot of people on the far side that will not drive that far or go out to games.
Be interesting to watch and see how that impacts the rest of the league.
AHL would fit nicely in Key Arena A.
Joel, I agree with you wholeheartedly.
I agree.
I would love to see the NHL, but in the short run, if we can't, I would love to see the
If it comes to it, I would in a heartbeat.
You know, you see these pucks down here, the junior hockey. I love junior hockey, but it's just that it is junior hockey. There's night and day difference between juniors, minor league, and pro hockey.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's essentially watching a high school kid versus
exactly
that kid that's working his way up the ladder on his way to the show.
After the Grizz knock out the Blunder, I'm done with the NBA till we get a team. So how likely is it for the NHL to come to Seattle? This is John Manilak, though. I don't really pay attention to the NHL, so I don't know the scenarios. Scenarios are pretty much, as we've explained the last 3 shows.
Yeah, John, unfortunately, the way the Chris Hansen MOU reads with the city and the county is he is only interested in owning the NBA teams. So because of that, he is not willing to invest his money for an NHL team to come here. He is only willing to put his money up once he secures the rights to a NBA team. So until that happens, we're left with minor league hockey, junior hockey. What becomes, I guess, interesting is if we get the promise of an expansion NBA team in, say, 2, 3, 4 years, does that become enough of a is it secure enough for Chris Hansen to break ground, the city and the county to put their money in? Do we see a team come here to Key Arena in the short run? That's always a very interesting question. You know,
I've always said Hansen needs to just tell the NBA to screw off and rewrite the MOU into basically saying we'll build it, have a hockey team here. When the NBA wants to come back, but you're going to come back on our damn terms.
That would be
just poetic
pie in the
justice.
sky. I would love to see that.
I would love it, but it will never happen.
No, unfortunately. But it brings up a good question of if it doesn't happen right now. I think that closes the window on Phoenix, like we talked about. But who else out there is looming? We've seen the realignment.
Yeah, that's where I was.
We've seen the realignment, and a couple of theories that kind of come to mind. Obviously, first off is expansion. It is cookie cutter cut or tailor made, I guess, to put 2 additional teams in the West. The other option, if you look at that, the way the NHL kind of reshaped the ABCD. I don't know what you even call them anymore, but Florida is off on its own. You've got Tampa Bay, you've got Florida down there, kind of in no man's land, and so they're going to be traveling through other divisions to play their in-division rivals. So, are they candidates for relocation? Are they looking at redistricting or, not redistricting, redrawing the divisions again? Realignment, thank you. What are their intentions with Florida? I can't tell. You've got 2 teams sitting down there just kind of as, orphans. And we're kind of left wondering, are they moving? Are they, what are they doing with them?
If it's not expansion, I would say Florida first of all, and start looking at Dallas.
Bring the stars.
Start looking at Dallas.
Stars.
They've had issues before.
Stars.
They've had issues before with the Tom Hicks bankruptcies and all that crap with the Rangers. And all. They're still not on solid footing. They're still not as stable as they were about 5 years ago even. So give it time. They'll, hit all walls come down eventually.
Sure.
So.
Well, in Dallas, I've not seen. I know their lease is expiring in the next few years, and I haven't heard, what the likelihood of them signing a new lease is. I know that they have Canadian ownership. that there's been some discussion about their owners wanting to be closer to home with the team. Does that mean they move? Does that mean he sells and looks at a new opportunity? Who knows? But, so we have Dallas. We've got 2 teams in Florida, Columbus, Nashville. I mean, there's...
The way I say is, if you want to really get a glimpse of what's going on, start looking at TV ratings, radio ratings.
Yep.
That's the best way to go, because that's where the fan support is. I mean, attendance is a big thing, but TV and radio money control this game. So,
well, you see our revenues are a lot lower in NHL than what they are with the other sports, and they're more ticket driven.
Yep.
So attendance is going to be key, and that's actually you guys bring up a great point, and that's something we'll take a look at here in some of these later episodes. Is
attendance is big. Attendance is big. TV ratings also, though. That's where you're going to get your people to come out, to start coming out to games. A lot of these, like Dallas, Phoenix attendance is bad. If you think their attendance is horrible, look at their television ratings. Seattle actually, of any city in the United States, Seattle has the highest hockey viewership that does not have a National Hockey League franchise.
Right.
The ratings here are pretty much, they're higher than a lot of NHL markets. We were... During the Olympics, what were we? I think it was number 3 or 4 in the United States.
In the United States,
viewership.
Outside of Canada,
yeah,
right.
During the gold medal game and all that. So there's a market. In a lot of these southern markets, you're not seeing ratings for even games like that,
Yeah. I think when you talk about the Olympics, the 2010 Olympics up there in Vancouver, I think it opened a lot of people's eyes to the viability of Seattle hosting NHL hockey. And I think most people kind of came to the conclusion that we would be able to support a team.
That was about when this whole idea of it started. Yeah, around that time, seeds were planted, folks.
Yep. So what else we got on the question board here? Anything?
The age limit in the Western Hockey League. When did it switch? When did the WHL switch to junior hockey status? Oh, you're talking about the old Western Hockey League.
Yeah.
The one with the Seattle Totems and whatnot. That league actually folded when the LA Kings, the California Seals, all those teams started expanding into the West Coast. I mean, they were about to become a national. They were basically going to be the second major league of hockey, but the NHL came out here, expanded, and shut them out. So they pretty much all went their own way. All the cities. Ironically, Seattle's one of the only cities, Seattle and Portland, I think, are the only 2 that do not have franchises in the NHL now of all the old Western Hockey League cities, which is crazy. They switched. There's always been a junior Western Hockey League since like the 60s.
I believe it was 66, if I recall.
Yeah. Around that time, Bobby Clark era in the 70s and whatnot. Late 60s.
Late 60s. And
Flin Flon Bombers.
Yeah. Well, and they really do a great job developing young hockey talent. I believe you're eligible for the draft at age 15. 16 you can start playing up through 21, 20.
Yeah, 20 years.
20 years. And so, at that point, these kids are looking at going into the NHL draft, or they're looking to go off and play at a college, D1 college program, so that they can continue their college or continue their hockey career. And it's a lot of fun watching them. We don't have high school hockey out here like we do back in the Midwest and the East Coast. So it really is fun getting to watch these kids come up through the communities. Here in Kent, we've got the Thunderbirds up in Everett with the Silver Tips, and the other WHL communities here in Oregon and Washington. It's fun watching these young kids get a taste of being celebrities in their communities, and I would encourage anybody who hasn't gone to see one, go out next season and
it's
check them out. It really is a lot of fun.
Hell, go on a Tuesday. It's $2 beers. I mean,
2 for
can't
Tuesdays.
beat that, man. Can't beat that. Where else are you going to get $2 beers? Anyway,
exactly.
Literally.
Exactly.
$2 Labatt's, baby, any day. Take it. On that note,
I think we've come to the end of our road here.
Final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Keep your chins up, folks. I know today didn't go the way we wanted with the NBA and the relocation of the Sacramento team, but let's keep fighting. Let's keep moving forward. Let's keep doing what we can do. Mark and I have chosen to try to make a difference by building up a real vibrant hockey community. Folks like Andy are doing great work in our community. If you are involved in a program, whether it be youth, adult, would like us to share your information, please get a hold of us.
Exactly.
It's great fun getting to talk to you folks and learning what's out there for resources. We'd like to really just encourage you to get involved, whether it be a Learn to Play program, whether it be going out and watching a game at one of the youth adult rec leagues, WHL, some of the other junior hockey programs we've got in the communities.
There's options out there. I mean, you don't have to pay $1 to watch some of these games. They're fun to watch. It beats the hell out of sitting at home watching TV. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah. So until next week, I want to thank you for tuning in. Todd Smith.
Mark Miller, keep your chins up. This is just a little bump on the road. We're going to get a team eventually. We're going to get a basketball team. We're going to get a hockey team. Don't say we're not. I mean,
they're coming.
It's always darkest before the dawn, literally. You know what I mean? Just keep your chins up, folks. We're going to get a team. Just keep the grassroots effort going like we're doing right now. Join us if you can. Any help, anything you guys want to do, questions even, or we love them, man. We love them.
So you can reach out to us and find us on Twitter at Met Hockey Report. That's METHOCKEYREPORT at Met Hockey Report. On Facebook at NHL Seattle. Mark, your blog is?
Northwest Coast Bias. And I haven't been writing on that. I've gotten actually a few comments from people. I'm sorry. I will regale you with some stories very soon. You can just hit me up at Facebook. Also, Mark A. Miller. I'm out there. I'm friends with him on.
There we go.
You can track me somehow. I'm trackable. I'm around.
And lastly, we still are looking for additional sponsors. If you'd like your ad to run and be a part of this program, please get in touch with me. We'd love to have you on board. Till next week.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Till next time.
Bye-bye.
You still lose 11 seconds. You've got 10 seconds. The countdown going on right now. Morrow up to Schultz. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
This week's episode of the Metro Hockey Report was brought to you by Allstate. If you need auto, home, business, or life insurance, call Allstate. You're in good hands.